Okay, hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial. So finally we are finished with the cytopathology series. You can suggest in the comments if you want any more cytopathology topics to be covered. And if I've already covered them, I'm going to give you the link to the video where I've covered them. And if I've not, I'm going to make a video and cover it. As far as my knowledge goes, I've covered all the important topics of cytopathology which are going to come in the exam. So now we are going to be starting with histopathology soon, and we'll be alternating histopathology with hematology. I'm extremely sorry for the long delay in posting the video of approximately 2 weeks. There was some family issues, some medical problems. That is why I could not upload it last week. So without wasting much time, let us start with today's topic. Again, from Hematpath, I have to complete this bone marrow failure syndrome chapter, and after that I'll move to WBCs and then Luke. Uh, Having said that, I would request you all to go check out my book on malignant hematology. It is a very short and concise notes for those preparing for DM, for those PG pathology students, for hematology students. It is very cheap, just 225 rupees, and is available on the Ahuja books website, the Ahuja publishers in Delhi on their website. I have shared the link on this on my channel, on my Facebook multiple times. I'm going to share it again today with this video. So please go check it out, buy the book, give your feedbacks to me. I've got some very positive feedback from the people who bought and read it. So I hope rest of you will also like it. And soon we'll be out with a benign hematology section. Also, I would like to share a very good news with you. When I was in my final year MD, I had written a small book on prevalence of acute leukemia as a part of the book project, which was published by a German company, Omniscriptum, and that book has now come on the website of Barnes and Nobles in London, which is a very big honor for me. And it has come out to be one of the in the segment of one of the best books of the fall season. So I'm really happy and really honored for my book to be showcasing on the Barnes and Noble website. For those of you who read, who are avid readers, they know that Barnes and Noble is one of the largest book websites in London. There are bookshops, and I presume they're publishers also, but probably they are more of the it's a bookshop, and it is one of the largest chains in London. And I'm really happy that they have included my first book in it. And the second book is also receiving good reviews from the people who are reading it. I would request you to check the Manual of Hematology and you can write the name Manual of Hematology and then my name, and you will get the link to the book. So please go and check it out. So pure HL aplasia won't be a long topic. I'll just tell you the important diseases that you need to read, and where you get confused in diagnosing a pure HL aplasia. So basically the word pure red cell aplasia is self-explanatory, that is absence of red cells and the precursors in the marrow. Myeloid and megakaryocytic lineage will be normal. Since it is a complete absence of the red blood cells, not a defect in the production of red blood cells, so the anemia is normocytic normochromic. It is neither macrocytic nor microcytic. And there will be, since the production is suffering, so there will be reticulocytopenia, and the immature precursor, the erythroblast, would be less than 1% in the marrow. Okay. This chart is from Tejinder Singh Sir's book. We all know that any sort of aplasia or hypoplasia can be primary or secondary, that is acquired. Pure HL, normally we can confuse it with aplastic anemia, or in marrows which are post chemotherapy marrows, or marrows which have received some sort of drug therapy, viral suppression in the marrow. But all of these differentials are accompanied with something extra. Like in bone marrow therapy, bone marrow suppression due to chemotherapy, all the three lineages will be suppressed. If you receive some sort of an Ayurvedic medication or a heavy metal medication, more than one lineage will be affected, or even if only one lineage is affected, there will be morphological features of dysbiosis. There will be morphological features of there will be some, say, erythroid suppression. There will be vacuoles in the erythroid lineage, so you will think of copper deficiency. Then If there's lead poisoning and there's some sort of depression due to that, you'll get basophilic stippling in the peripheral smear. So there are multiple, supposing it is an autoimmune or a viral induced, then you will get viral inclusions as well as plasma cells or lymphocytes. So there are other things which are going to point towards that, okay, no, there's something more than that, more than just a pure HLA aplasia leading to suppression of the erythroid lineage. However, in a congenital form, there will be just single suppression of the erythroid lineage, and myeloid and megakaryocytic lineage will be unaffected. Okay. So again, the causes from the net, congenital में there's Diamond-Blackfan and transient erythropoiesis, erythroblastopenia of childhood. Just like there is TAM, there's transient abnormal myelopoiesis of childhood. Similarly, there's TEC, transient erythroblastopenia of childhood. That is due to some cause, congenital cause. Initial phases of childhood, you'll have suppressed erythroid lineage cells, which will then recover. Just like TAM might go into malignancy, TEC might recover or might not. That will be a future thing to see. But when you're getting a sample of a very young child, 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years old, 2.5 years old, you have to think of TEC also. You have to think of some secondary causes like viral infection or some drug therapy or some other poisoning being given to the child before you know make a diagnosis of some congenital malformation. Okay. So this is a chart which is going to differentiate. So Diamond-Blackfan is a congenital erythroid aplasia. You'll get craniofacial anomalies and increased risk of malignancies. Here the anemia will be macrocytic with reticulocytopenia and steroid is the treatment. So in a congenital, in this case, there must be something affecting, you know, the B12 morphology, the effect of the B12 on the DNA, etc. That is causing the macrocytic changes. However, if it is secondary, then normally it is normocytic. So the difference, TEC occurs in 26 months, and DAB is congenital, so occurs early, that is in 5 months. It is acquired, it is constitutional. Again, TEC has a viral illness preceding with a normal physical examination. Here in DBA, there is congenital anomaly present, normocytic and macrocytic. Spontaneous recovery because it is viral induced, and this requires either bone marrow transplant, which is congenital, or transfusion. So if whenever there's a viral induced change, you're going to get these inclusions. Supposing parvovirus causes erythroblastopenia and suppression of the erythroid lineage. So look for these deep inclusions in the nucleoli, in the nucleus of the erythroid, and this dog earring of the cytoplasm. Characteristic of parvovirus infection. Also, you will get absence of erythroid lineage in the marrow as compared to a normal marrow. This is the paper by Carol Pollock, from which I took that table of causes of anemia, and the difference is from the net as well as from this paper. You can go and read. This is a mini review, so it will help you. There's nothing much to tell in pure red cell aplasia because it is a very short topic. You will only and only confuse it with either aplastic anemia or a secondary suppression by viral or drug. Drug, you will get either eosinophils, you will get dysbiosis. Viral, you will get lymphocytes, plasma cells. Autoimmune, you will get lymphocytes, plasma cells. And if it is a post-chemo, you will get all the three lineages suppressed. If it is an aplastic marrow, all the three lineages suppressed. Sometimes a recovering post-chemo marrow might show only erythroid lineage cells and nothing else. That is a process of recovery. So again, you might think, what is happening over here? Why only erythroid lineage? So whenever you are interpreting a penia or suppression, always go for a secondary cause first and then think of congenital, and take the complete history. Ask the clinician to tell you about any drug history, any therapy history, any viral infection, any autoimmune etiology. So yeah, that is it for today. Very short lecture. Next I'm going to be starting with histopathology, so I'll come back with the next histopathology video next week. And till then, please again I request you, go check my book out, Manual of Hematology. You can type the entire title and my name, Dr. Neema Tiwari, on Google, and you're going to get that book. Please buy, please recommend, please give your reviews. I'm always open to discussions, and I would love to improvise the book as the next part of the book when it comes out. The book has the latest WHO topics covered in concise for your revision purposes only. So I hope you like it, and I hope you like the lecture, and I'll see you soon next time. Good night and bye.